Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know Show. I'm Jim McPhee, and right there is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, know-it-alls? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show. I am ready to go. I'm super excited about this. No, I have not had any caffeine, but man, okay, we're about to talk about the MVP race, the insanity that is the NFL, and also a lot more upcoming. And we thank you guys for tuning in like you do every single week. Really do appreciate you guys' support. But if you want to further support the show, it would be greatly appreciated if you could have if you haven't done so already, or someone that you may know that likes NFL talk, to head over to our channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. It does help us out a little bit here and there. And don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend, share and spread the word. Jim, I'm excited because this is a topic that a lot of people have covered, but I don't think they've covered it for the right reasons.
Right. And you hear the same old, and it's funny. It's one of those things that you hear everybody discuss and say, hey, this guy's truly worthy, but he'll never because he's not a quarterback or something like that. But and that always bothers me because it's like, but why? If we're here to vote and we're able to have a say, or why don't people just say, well, he isn't? If we all think the same thing, but then we're just saying, but we can't though because it's not a quarterback. Are you serious? Like, what are we doing here? Right. That's like saying when you go to vote or something like that, I'm like, well, I think this guy's really qualified and he should, but it won't happen. So I don't know. I got to go with this guy every single time. You know what I mean? It's like, look, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So, and this is why we have these conversations too, because also everybody's got to bring up the fact that too, when you talk about most valuable player, everybody looks at value to their team too. Not valuable player in the league to their team, to the league, or what it is. That's a big factor too that isn't always into play too. It's always the most productive player, or so. I mean,
statistically
that's what,
driven, like any of that, because that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Or just flat out popularity. We've seen that before.
Yeah, absolutely. So, which I think they should have two different votes maybe at this point. Split it up. Most, impressive player, the MIP, or and then the and then the MVP, right? Most impressive player of the year. There you go. And then that's the MVP. So
you could do that, and then that'll just lead to more insanity of awards, and where they're just making up things like out of nowhere. But let's get into this, Jim. I have a list of 6 players that I dug into, and for differing reasons, why I think they, at this point in the season, deserve to be considered the MVP. Now, none of these are numbered. None of these are ranked. We're just going to spitball this right here into the conversation. And then at the end of our conversation, if I missed anybody that you have on your list, you can include them. And then from that list, we will pick our top 3 at this point in the season that we think are the most rightful to deserve the award. First off, I'm going to start with Seattle Seahawks wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba, who has 72 catches right now, just over 1,100 receiving yards already in a span of 10 games, and 5 touchdowns. He has a legitimate shot to beat the all-time record of Calvin Johnson's single-season record of 1,946 receiving yards. And man, oh man, he really has a legitimate shot to beat it. Now, whether he beats that record or not, this is a super impressive season by a wide receiver. And thus, you got to be talking about this guy as an MVP candidate. I don't know why some people are overlooking it. Just like you mentioned earlier, Jim, everyone seems to be tunnel vision on quarterbacks. Quarterbacks usually do win this award, but we gotta really kind of, grind this out and do our own homework here about every single player that should be considered for this award.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at JSN too, I mean, when I spoke about the Seattle Seahawks and then moving forward from, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, you knew they had to put the pressure here on Jackson Smith-Njigba. And you only saw him really a lot in the slot a little bit last year. You saw the potential and what he could do. And he had an impressive first year too, as well. But this year, being the guy even too, he has surpassed last year's career best mark of 1,130 yards, completing the achievement in 7 fewer games. You know what I mean? And that's the difference with being now the guy and in the whole thing, the whole what the team revolves around when you look at most valuable player, especially to their team. And this year also he's achieved his 7th 100-yard game in just 10 appearances. And last year he only accomplished that 3 times. So again, stepping out and here, stepping up for his team and putting the league on notice. If some people, for some reason, I know a lot of people don't watch the games in Seattle, don't get to see a whole lot of Seattle games sometimes. If you didn't know who the hell this guy was, people know who he is now.
Yeah, JSN to me is like one of my favorites right now at this point. Now, if he can keep this thing going, and even if he can come close to the all-time single season receiving record, that would be one huge milestone for him and definitely worthy of consideration for the MVP at the end of this season. Number 2 on my list.
Hold on. Before you get to number 2, we just the comment. I just going to give a shout out to Christian out there.
What up, Christian?
Christian, he says JT. So you're thinking Jonathan Taylor in that one. He says that dude is carrying the Colts on his back. If they didn't have JT, they would be ass cheeks. Oh man,
I don't think they would be that.
I don't think they would be ass cheeks.
I think they'd still be a good team. They just wouldn't have the running ability. So you look at the record now and how impressive that they've carried through their season, but you remove that all-star running back, and now the record is a little bit diminished, right? Like they might even be a 500 team, or just over that. So next, I have Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua. And Puka's name hasn't been coming up in league circles that much. Yes, he's having a really good year. He has 73 catches, just 1 catch more than JSN. He has 850 receiving yards with 4 touchdowns to go along with him. Now, you're saying, well, why is he even in the mix? Well, because he's missed a couple of games too. We got to put that little variable into the mix as well, because had he made those 2 games, we might be talking about Puka Nacua in the same light as JSN, which both guys would be worthy of the MVP award as well. Couple of names that aren't being highly spoken of, or at least in popular circles anyway. There's a couple of candidates that so far that I have on my list.
All right.
To add to that, Jim?
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were moving on to your list or not because it kind of threw me off there. But yeah, again, Puka Nacua, you showed again what he could do last year. Now that Cooper Kupp has moved on, yes, they brought in Devontae Adams here, but Puka was the guy. You even saw it there before. Matthew Stafford was his go-to guy, and he continues on this year too. And not only just, you talk about receiving stats, you also bring up the fact that he can run. He scored a 45-yard rushing touchdown in week 2, the longest rushing touchdown for the Rams since 2017, and the 3rd longest run by a Rams wide receiver all time. So already breaking, franchise records and stuff like that. And that's always key to a good player and a valuable player to your team and to your franchise. And Puka Nacua absolutely has to be one of those guys in consideration.
Yeah, and think about it though, too. The offense, despite the additions that they've made with Adams and whatnot, the offense still runs through Puka. Like he's still the guy. So that's another reason why he is so important to that Rams offense and that team. Great locker room guy. So I mean, love to like about Puka Nacua. Next, I have
and his thing. Just one more quick about Puka Nacua again. The fact that what he's achieving so quickly too. He's also tied the record for the most receptions in the first 4 games of the season. And then also with his career milestone, reached 250-yard receptions. One of the quickest too as well. He is the fastest actually too to do it, just 36 games. So breaking records.
So we have Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, who currently has already reached over 1,000 yards. He has 1,139
Yes.
rushing yards in 10 games. Also, he averages 6 yards per carry with 15 touchdowns. And by the way, if that wasn't enough for you, this guy also has 30 catches for 260 yards receiving and a couple of TDs in that field. So, talk about a running back that does it all. This guy blocks for the team. This guy catches the ball, runs the ball, and literally is the backbone of this offense for the Indianapolis Colts. Again, one of those other players, not a quarterback, that is literally carrying the team. Now, I get it. He has other players around him that have been adding to the offense and helping this team win. But man, there's no doubt about it. This dude, Jonathan Taylor, is not only a beast at running back, but also a guy who is at sometimes we've even witnessed it having over 200 rushing yard games this season and just flat out basically releasing the premium power that is Jonathan Taylor. Definitely deserving of the conversation at least to win the MVP.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy, I mean, he's always been good, but his one thing was always injuries, right? You know, he was always just getting injured. So to
Right.
see him healthy and what he could do here behind that offensive line, like you said, you brought up the great stats about the 17 total touchdowns, averaging 6 yards per carry. What is amazing too is he's on pace for over 2,300 total scrimmage yards and nearly 30 total touchdowns. And right now, he currently has 0 fumbles. I hope I didn't just,
Oh, there you go.
I might have.
There you
and
go.
Even the fact I just brought it
nice
up.
Job.
But he's also recorded over 200 yards after contact in a game this season, too, a feat that no other running back has achieved since 2017, Joe. So way back, way back. Yeah. So,
pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What he's doing is great. We talked about wide receivers. We talked about a running back. What else we got here, buddy?
Got another running back for you, and a
All
guy,
right.
but that needs no introduction other than 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey.
Ooh,
This is another name that hasn't really been brought up too much yet, but maybe they need to start paying attention because this guy's having a very quiet season that looks pretty darn impressive. So at this juncture, Christian McCaffrey has 707 rushing yards, right? You're like, yeah, okay, whatever. He has just under 4 yards per carry with 6 touchdowns, and that's just rushing, right? But then you add on the receiving element of this guy. This guy is basically a wide receiver when needed, when called upon. I mean, you look at the 49ers team with the wide receivers falling to injury left and right. And then in one of the games where it was basically no Ricky Parasol, there was no Juwan Jennings. Brandon Ayuk still hasn't come back yet. So they were playing with backup receivers, but guess what? Christian McCaffrey was there. To this point, he has 74 catches for 732 yards as a running back and 5 receiving touchdowns. So this guy has 11 total touchdowns right now at this point, is doing it on the rushing and also in the passing game, in the receiving game. I mean, how is this guy not being brought up into the conversation, much like some of the other guys we just mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, no introduction. You know who he is. You know what he's doing. It's kind of like, I think just because there's so many injuries on the 49ers, people not expecting a whole lot. You've got Mac Jones was behind center for a while there, a couple of years or a couple of weeks. And McCaffrey was just there again, being the bell cow, you know what I mean? Doing his thing, and people weren't really following them. And they were, I think, even surprised that they were keeping winning, but nobody really said anything. It wasn't making headlines. It wasn't doing anything. Right. And they're just quietly just doing it. Right. And that they're still in the mix for this division. And it's crazy and it's great. What we got here?
Christian just said, you know what I like about this conversation? Not one quarterback seems like the MVP has just become a quarterback award. It's refreshing to hear a new perspective on the MVP, and honestly, it's terrible how it is right now.
Yeah.
It really is, and I just don't get how the NFL, the voters, they only see quarterbacks as the guys that should be winning the MVP award, but it shouldn't be like that. It should be whoever is the most valuable player.
Yeah.
Like to whether you consider it like most valuable player to their team, most valuable player in general because we're having a stellar year. But this is why we wanted to have this conversation, Christian,
Yeah.
for the same things. It's like there are other players out there that are having such impressive careers or even seasons right now that you gotta bring them up. They gotta be at least part of the conversation because it is so fascinating to see what some of these receivers, these running backs are accomplishing so far in this season. And who knows? They might further, just blow out of the water with stats. By the end of the year, it's gonna be hard to turn these guys down for this MVP.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is, how about when you go through and somebody says a team, what's the first name that comes to your mind? Because that's kind of what the MVP is, even to that team. Who encompasses the spirit of that team? You say, again, Baltimore, you're going to say Lamar Jackson or even say Derrick Henry, or whatever. But when you say 49ers, especially right now, nobody's like Brock Purdy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're either George Kittle or, like Christian McCaffrey, right? So
Right.
I think, again, that's why we should leave it open. You have your offensive player of the year. You have your rookie, offensive, defensive player of the year, all this other stuff, comeback player. MVP should be in most valuable player through that team through this season who, needed it the most. You know what I mean? We've had enough offensive, awards that go to wherever and stuff like that. And I think it's just lazy to just hand it to a quarterback.
A quarter, and
Because
don't
everybody
get
knows
us
it's the
wrong.
most important
Right,
position, right? You know what I mean? So
right.
come on, you're gonna give an award for the most important. They already the most important people. They make the most money already. They need a trophy on top of it. Like seriously, bro. You know?
Yeah, and that's the
Oh,
thing too, is like it is an
right.
important position. It is we
Yeah.
know all about that, and most likely it might be a quarterback once again getting the MVP award, but you gotta throw in some names that
Yeah.
really do
Yeah. Just
deserve
get
it.
you thinking at least. Yeah. Let's go.
And
What do we got here?
now we're at the point where we do go back to that quarterback position.
Okay. So now
Now
we
we've
talked
made
about
it.
no quarterbacks. We're going quarterback, but
We've made it to this part of the
and
show
it's part
here,
of the
and
show.
got to start off with right now Rams quarterback Matt Stafford
Yeah.
and the year that he's having up to this point. 2,557 passing yards, 27 passing touchdowns.
27.
And you know what that means? This guy's been killing it in just protecting the football. He only has 2 interceptions at
Yeah.
this point for this season with 66% completion percentage. I mean, this guy has been playing out of his mind, really. And for a guy who had such concerns in right before the season, people were concerned about his back. Like he tweaked it, and then he wasn't practicing for a week or two. And it's
Hmm.
like, oh man, does this mean that Stafford might be done? Like there was some serious concerns about that his career ending, and now you look at this guy, even after him getting knocked around, pushed around, this guy's still popping up ready for this team every single week and distributing the football like no other.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I mean, there's rumors about him, signing with the Giants, other different teams, stuff like that, maybe walking away from the game itself. So a lot of stuff behind him, a lot of question marks too. Like you said, the back issue. And he's just performing again. He just does
Mhm.
what he does. He's a nice cold killer out there on the field. And he's got great weapons to throw to too. And like you said, you did all the ratings and everything too. Rating 112.7. I mean, 66 percentage. And then also this year, he surpassed Matt Ryan for the 9th place on all-time list for his 382nd career touchdown pass. So he's adding to that too and breaking
Wow.
into the top 10 further and enshrining himself into the Hall of Fame this season as well. So
Take
and
that,
again,
Matt Ryan.
yeah, and exactly. And the thing is with him, when you put him side to side with a lot of these other quarterbacks people mention about being top fives, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, you put Matt Ryan next to them, you say, who am I choosing? You're going Matt Ryan or Matt Ryan. I mean, Matthew Stafford, right?
Mhm.
Matthew Stafford and all those. I trust Matthew Stafford more than I trust Jared Goff at this point too, and especially in the playoffs. And that's partially why I think even the Rams did that trade. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So this guy is just knows how to do it. He's a field general on the field. And I think people notice him enough out there too. And he's got to be up near the top for the voting, at least, because again, he's a quarterback.
Yeah, Christian has something to say. He goes, Andrew Thomas, MVP. Pretty sure he hasn't let up a sack yet this year. He's also said that he's handled elite, in quotes, pass rusher he's had across him, including Micah Parsons, is what he meant to say, invisible this past week. Christian, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but an offensive lineman will never get the MVP rate, MVP award. So that is why we don't have any offensive linemen, sadly. Now, I agree with you, Christian. I think that the big guys should be recognized. Maybe they should, when you got a absolute mauler of an offensive lineman, maybe they do deserve to be at least in the conversation. But it's so hard to compare them because of such a different position to play, right? Like, there's really no statistics for offensive linemen, and I've been pounding the table for quite some time now that there should be. There should be a statistic for pancakes. There should be a statistics for how many penalties they get. What kind of penalties do they get? Like, you know what I mean? Like all that kind of stuff should be documented for offensive linemen. That way, it'd be easier for the fan bases out there to recognize those players because a lot of times people don't know what to look for when you're watching an offensive lineman. How good is he? How bad is he? Like, is he worthy of like best, offensive lineman award or whatnot? So I think it would help the NFL audience altogether.
Yeah, and I think didn't they just on the ESPYs there, whatever end of the year awards, didn't they just add one for the offensive lineman this past year?
Yep.
I mean, so we've been asking for
offensive
a long
lineman
time.
of the year.
Yeah, and they just did it now. So
Right.
I mean, you talk about MVP. I'm like, we won't see that until 2045, possibly somewhere, right?
We've been saying it for quite some time, Jim. Listen, we're pioneers when it comes to this.
Yeah. So all right, we got Rise Up Dirty Birds.
Yeah.
Tonight, absolutely. So he's got to chime in about his Falcons, right, Joe?
Yeah, he definitely does. He said, Michael Penix out for the rest of the year, needs ACL surgery, recovery at least 9 months. That is true, my friend. So Rise Up, I got to ask you, what's your feelings on Kirk Cousins now coming in to be now the starter for the rest of the year? Do you believe it? Are you one of the few that still believe in Kirk Cousins? Maybe he can turn it around, or you're saying might be the end of our season in total.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably out there saying, "Yeah, I wish we just tanked now." But be wary though, because again, Raheem Morris is creeping up on that hot seat conversation.
Yeah, Christian definitely agrees with us. He goes, "They track every other stat. Why not track their stats?" Exactly.
Yeah, it is so hard to find them. Like, there's some places that do like kind of track them, but dude, you're like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It's tough, but you know what? There should be those stats. At least you have to provide those to at least give people, a fair shake of what kind of a player or players that maybe they have. There's a lot of fans I feel like out there that don't really pay attention to their offensive line. Are they good or are they bad? Basically, that's all they care about.
Yeah,
Can they hold up or not? Other than that, the big guys don't really get recognized. And Rise Up, he just had to add that he goes, he's okay, so. Christian also said that on a side note, what in the hell was Dan Campbell last week? 0 for 6.
Yes.
Fourth down conversions.
Yeah.
You're right. And we had this kind of conversation on our other show last night. A little bit, because at this point, Dan Campbell took over the play calling duties for the offense, and it showed, right? Like, I don't think that's the problem with the Detroit Lions. I think that Dan should still concentrate just completely as a head coach, a motivator of men, and make those in-game decisions when he has to. I think he needs to give the playbook back to the original offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter, and go with it. Like, there's no reason for you to take the play calling duties away, and then on top of it, make some really poor critical decisions in the game because he looked uncomfortable. Me and Jim talked about it. We both kind of view it the same way. You saw him really trying to concentrate. All right, what's the next play I need to call? What should I do? And on top of all this of calling plays, you still got to be the head coach of the team. So I think he was a little in over his head and needs to give the play calling duties back and get back to being smarter, though.
Yeah.
Because as aggressive as Dan Campbell is, you gotta be smarter. You can't just continue to go for it on fourth downs because I believe in my team. So we're gonna go for it every time, no matter where we are in the field. No, gotta be smart. You gotta pick and choose your spot.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think it really took him away from visualizing the game and doing what he does most. He's a motivator, ultimate motivator, and he wasn't able to do that. I think when he's got his face into the book and he's like trying to flip it over and look at it too, he's like, which one do I want? Which one? Look at it here. And wasn't able to get the feel of the game because you and I talked about it again. We talked about it last night on the Blind Side Blitz about really they were controlling the ball running with Jahmyr Gibbs. Stick with the run game. It controls the time of possession, keeps the other offense off the field, and you can wear out that defense, which they never did in that last game too. So, like you said, hand it back over. Let him be who he can be, and they'll be fine.
Rise Up has confirmed that he's ass. We have confirmation that
wasn't trying to cuss.
He's not.
But Kirk's ass.
All right, bro.
Right. Like we got it. That's good. We cuss all the time, right?
We got you.
Yeah.
Christian has something to say. He goes, I'll give him credit. He's flipped that organization around, but there's a time and place to go for it on your first, second, third, fourth drive of the game on your own side of the field is not the time or the place to do it. And you're right. And that's what we're talking about when we say be smarter. Like, know the game situation that you're in.
Retard alert.
And at times that's what he seemed to look like too. So to be fair, like I do appreciate an aggressive coach, but it's got to be within reason. Yeah. We've seen a head coach already get fired because he went for it so often on fourth down. He used to be with the Chargers, and he's no longer there for that same reason. So hopefully this doesn't kind of show its head later on down, maybe in the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, because they're on the fence a little bit here. But hopefully he doesn't go back to that whole aggressive nature too much.
Absolutely. All right. We love the comments out there, you guys. We appreciate you guys out there dropping the comments. If you're watching too, don't be afraid. We got some other friends in here dropping comments. So you guys join in conversation.
Oh yeah.
Rise Up. I get too. We might lose to the Saints. Yeah. Right. But again, it sucks for him. He said he's like, we don't have a first round pick, which hurts for them. So
true. Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the next.
All right, so let's move on to the list now, right? Back to the list.
We're going to go with Bills quarterback Josh Allen. And I know what a lot of people are going to say when first they hear his name, like, why would you even bother? The guy that has 2,456 passing yards. He has 18 touchdowns. And I would like to see a little bit lower of interceptions, but he does have 7 interceptions right now, which isn't terrible, but it's also not what you want to see. 69% completion, though. Guy has one of the highest completion percentages in the league. A guy who is the only go-to player on this offense. I understand, like, James Cook is there, and he got paid his money. And don't get me wrong, he is a really good running back. But when the running game isn't working, and he's very, and he's ineffective, guess what? It all falls onto Josh Allen. Now he has to make something happen, whether that be with his legs, whether that be with his arm. But if he doesn't have a good game, this team loses. And that's why he's so critical for the Buffalo Bills. And I believe that's why he should also be considered for the MVP.
All right. See you later, Rise Up. He said he's got to go, but thanks for chiming in.
Brother.
We appreciate you out there, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, Josh Allen. I mean, we talked about this too a bunch of different times, and that's why it kind of even sets up that he could be the MVP, at least for his team too, as well, because he is the only one that can kind of get it done that you trust, that he even trusts. I just trusted myself. I'm going to take it off. And
I'm going on.
Yeah. He's like, I don't trust these guys out there. And again, you got Keon Coleman, who we're, hearing again, it's just immaturity issues. So he's a healthy scratch. So he can't even get it on the field and get on the same page with Josh Allen. So he's throwing to these other dudes out there that people don't even know who the hell they are, Shaver. Who's Shaver, right?
Shavers, man. Oh my God.
Right?
He was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So who knows? Insert another name, but Josh Allen doing it all. And you saw it there. It wasn't more apparent than last week with him getting 3 passing touchdowns and the 3 running touchdowns. I mean, it's just crazy. So you don't see a lot of that stuff around here in the league no more. So
for Buffalo going forward, you hope that they can get healthier too, because like they have been missing some guys. Khalil Shakir, I feel like it's a little odd to me that this guy has kind of been almost irrelevant at times. A guy who a year ago was kind of like the go-to slot receiver, and now you're not seeing him being as involved as before. I understand, Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox have suffered injuries and they've come in and out of the lineup. So maybe when those guys get healthy along with everybody else, then maybe they'll start to get back on track. But again,
all right,
it is all on Josh Allen. And if he doesn't have a good game, this team usually ends up losing. So that would be the reason why, not so much statistically driven, but still has good stats. But again, this is a player that, and I understand he plays quarterback and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it's important. But this dude, they really heavily rely on him so much that they'd be lost without him.
Yeah, so you've listed 2 receivers, 2 running backs, and 2 quarterbacks.
Guess what's next? Another quarterback.
I was gonna say tackle.
So
no.
I could come up with a list where there could, I should make up my own offensive lineman MVPs or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I
nobody
feel like
would watch the show then.
I also think though, offensive lineman, a better list would be worst linemen in the league, and then just again highlight the terrible ones. Yeah, I know.
Number 1 would be
we know
Taylor.
Absolutely.
Horrendous.
The other JT that nobody likes. All right, all right, Joe, what do you got here next up?
Okay, so last on my list here for MVP conversations here is Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield. And this dude has, now when you look at when we talked about Stafford before, this guy is only like 200 yards shy of what Stafford's doing right now. He has 2,365 passing yards. He has 17 touchdowns at this point and only 3 INTs with a 63.5 completion percentage. Now, with the stats alone, maybe he doesn't get into the top 3 conversation, but this dude also has propelled his team almost by himself at times, without a Mike Evans, without a Chris Godwin. And obviously you got the emergence of the young rookie, Emeka Egbuka, which is nice to have. But he's still finding ways to win some games here and there. He had 4 straight, something like that, come from behind wins with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers earlier in the year. And I got to tell you, for a guy that stepped up so much for Tampa Bay, regardless of the injuries to their offensive line, missing out on both tackles due to injury, and the receiver injuries and the defensive injuries, this guy still is helping this team hang in every single game, and sometimes tipping the balance in their favor. So Baker Mayfield is the last guy on my list.
Yeah, and like you said, it's almost similar to what Josh Allen is to me. I mean, you're bringing up the fact that how close he is to with Stafford, but also what he means to the team and how important and how his performance is to the team, and also how the completion percentage, but then the passing yards completed with a top 5 ranking in rushing as well. So, I mean, again, a guy that can do it with his legs, but then do it with his arm on top of it. And oftentimes without not his best receivers out there and a young and up and coming rookie out there. So absolutely. So I think Baker Mayfield's got to be in the conversation. He got snubbed last year and we all know this. And so, I mean, do we see the snub coming back to this year? And like we saw with Josh Allen last year, he got snubbed the year before. They're like, oh, we got to give it to Josh now this year. So it could be. It could be. So that's your list here of guys he had for potential?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, then I'm going to throw one more curveball into this thing. And it could, again, bring up the question. Do we beg the question? Will an MVP of the league ever be a defensive player? Right? You talk about how important and high paid the quarterbacks are, but then on the defensive side, we're talking about pass rushers, right? And how great they are and the things that impact that they do and that they make. This person not only encompasses the team altogether, puts the whole team on his back, but he's been dominating the league like year after year if it wasn't even for TJ Watt. And I'm talking about Myles Garrett for the Cleveland Browns. He's got 15 sacks already in 10 games. That's one away from his career best. So we've got a whole nother 7 games for him to play to beat that. You know what I'm saying? 39 tackles, 22 tackles for loss, 21 QB hits on top of it. And that one, he's only one shy of his own personal record and a forced fumble. He's the sack leader currently right now in the league. He became the first player since 1982 to record at least 12 sacks in 6 consecutive seasons. So altogether, look at his career, what he's doing now. And also in the last 4 games, 11 of those sacks came, to here with him and the Browns. So most recently stepping up his game. So does he continue at this crazy pace? God only knows, but he's doing it almost on his own there for the Browns. So for me, that you see the stats, you know the player who he is, and he embodies the team, right? Most valuable player to that team is him,
right? And it's a very short list, and it begins and ends with Myles Garrett in Cleveland. So, I get it, and I've been a big proponent for defenders to get the MVP, but guess what? They'll never get it. They're just like offensive linemen in the eyes of the NFL. They'll never get this award because why? Because there's been so many times that that guys that don't get it, that have had seasons like Myles Garrett, and you're like, well, we're still going to give it to a quarterback. So, unfortunately, for a guy that's really playing out of his mind on the defensive side of the ball, guess what? No one else is bringing this guy's name up. So, if his name isn't even being brought up, and he's a defensive player, like, what? I don't understand why. This is also a guy, that has had at least a couple games, to my knowledge, that has 3 or more sacks in a game, a couple times this year. And he's on record pace to just kind of destroy his statistics from before. Anything that he's already kind of labeled as a milestone for himself, he's on pace to destroy it all. Like in terms of sacks, in terms of pressures, in terms of tackles for loss. And this guy, when you watch him on film too, even when teams are going out of their way to double team the guy and sometimes double team him and also chip him with the running back out of the backfield, this guy still gets home. He still makes the plays. He still sacks the quarterback, creates chaos in the backfield. So I agree, Jim. Like Myles Garrett does deserve to be considered an MVP. But unfortunately, the way the NFL views everything, these guys might not ever get this award.
We got Christian out here. He's going to be the devil's advocate. He said 5 came in one game and he had 4 in another. And he said he only really had 2 good games. I'm not saying he's not a monster, but he's had like 4 or 5 sack games. I'm sorry. He only had 5 games or 5 sacks in one game and 4 in another. Like, oh man,
The dude
he'll
is
never do that again.
Absolutely a menace.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry.
And I get it. You're a certain competition. You're going to have that. Yeah, okay. But still,
I mean,
how many times do we look at quarterbacks and then all of a sudden he has a stellar, this many completions completed in a row, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And the next week, look at Jared Goff. He's had one of those games where he only had 1 incompletion or something. He had like full completions, 100% until the first half or something, and then blows it. But then last week, you see a 38% completion percentage, getting mauled by the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I mean, do you hold that against him? Not exactly, right? Still a good player, but so all right, Joe, let's get it down to the nitty-gritty here, then we'll get to our picks. Your top 3 MVP candidates, though, based on this couple that we listed here. Also, anybody out there in the comments, I know you guys are listening and watching. We appreciate you out there. I know Christian likes to chat with us. You guys, come on, feel free. This is a safe space here. Tell us who you guys think they can be the MVP of the league. And it can be anybody who you really feel like. It doesn't have to be quarterback. Just let us know. State your mind. Whatever you want. State your case. So,
yeah,
Joe,
honestly, that's the other thing too. Is like you made me start thinking about something. Is
oh, geez,
corners.
Oh,
there's some corners that are having some amazing games. Quinyon Mitchell right now for the Eagles is shut down. Yeah, there's not too many people that are even throwing his side of the field at this point this season. So there's another one just to throw out there. But anyway, so I think like for my top 3. For my top 3, I think I'm going to start off with Jonathan Taylor. Like, the dude is not only one of those players that is so impactful to his own team, but also he's absolutely killing it in the game. Like, it's almost every week he's either getting 200 rushing yards a game, or he's like just barely missing it, because they utilize him so heavily in that offense that man, what a season this dude is having, especially for a guy who was often injured, and now it seems like he's finally getting healthy and staying healthy for the Colts.
Yeah, I agree. He's on my list too. Absolutely number 1 on my list if you're going to rank him or whatever. But that's mine right here because of what he's doing, and the fact that also the over 200 yards after contact. That's big. That means you're forcing your way through, getting back into breaking tackles and making it through. So, Jonathan Taylor, if it's any a year, and it sucks too because of what Saquon did last year. Getting so close to breaking the season high record. But then also the other quarterbacks doing what they were doing. So he kind of got overshadowed with all that. But Jonathan Taylor really representing the running backs.
Yeah. So my next one, I think I'm going to go with JSN. JSN is not only on pace to possibly be breaking the single season record that was held or still is held by Calvin Johnson, one of the best receivers ever. But man, he is just slaying it right now. He's killing everybody on defense. There's no real answer for him. No matter what the defensive coordinators come up with, Seattle figures out a way where, like, oh, no, you know what? His talent is going to supersede whatever you try to do to stop him. And it's proven every single week. So this is a guy that, again, he's definitely in my top 3 for the MVP at this point in the season.
Yeah, and what's funny is in some circles, people are trying to bring up Sam Darnold's name in this whole situation, but
why?
Sam Darnold wouldn't be Sam Darnold this year if it wasn't for JSN. And I believe you too. Again, that's my number 2 here. Jackson Smith and Jigba too. What he's done, he's getting open, and that's why Sam Darnold, he just trusts him. He just airs it out to him. He's always open. He's like 7-11 right now. So absolutely everything you mentioned there on top of it, right there on pace to break Calvin Johnson's record. So no doubt, I'm down with it.
Yeah, and for my last guy, guess what? Shocker alert, it's not a quarterback. I'm going to go with 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey. Just basically for a guy that came back from injury, who is so important to his team. Again, this kind of falls right into the same category as Jonathan Taylor. Without Christian McCaffrey this year, this team is nowhere close to even sniffing the playoffs. And you can bank on that.
Bank on that.
Christian McCaffrey right now, over 700 rushing yards, to remind some of the people that are just tuning in. Also, in the receiving department, this guy has damn near 1,000. He's already got 732 receiving yards. I expect that number to grow because by the end of this year, we got quite a few games left. He could be over 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving, and that again is going to be something impressive to behold. So that would be right now my top 3 for the MVP at this point.
Yeah. And for me, it's the guy that threw the ball a lot of times to Calvin Johnson. It's Matthew Stafford. Again, this guy is a competitor. He's up at the top every single year with, in this conversation. He's breaking milestones this year. Another one, he's maintained a career average of 7.3 yards per pass attempt. So, I mean, that's key for them too as well. And what you can't say anything more about him, what he's done. Again, he's one of those top elite quarterbacks that has hit the 10,000 milestone with some of the best too, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees and stuff. So, no doubt gets snubbed a lot of times when you look at these other names, Josh Allen, Lamar and stuff, but especially with these guys being banged up, injured, having a down year, Mahomes having a down year. He's competing out there in the Rams territory. So I like him. I can't argue with what you're saying about
no, I get it.
Christian McCaffrey either though. And what's funny is I've got, when you look at comeback player of the year, I think that's going to be kind of interesting too. Because I think that could be a handful of guys too.
Right. And honestly, you could flip flop like Stafford for Christian McCaffrey in this MVP race, and then maybe McCaffrey, instead of getting the MVP race, he gets comeback player of the year. I could see that happening because sometimes the NFL does that, right? Like even though as good of a season as McCaffrey's having right now, it is an MVP caliber season, but they might be like, well, we do want to give the award to someone else. You know what I mean? So maybe we'll give it to so-and-so, and then we'll just make McCaffrey the comeback player of the year. It's not MVP,
absolutely.
but still, it's a good award to get.
It's right there. Absolutely. Christian says, you want to comment, Jimmy? Thanks for not wearing that toilet paper this week. Nice.
Boy.
Yeah, I even went through my closet a few times, thumbed through it. I'm like, well, I can't wear this one. I was going to wear the gray one, and then like, nah. So I'll go with this one. I'm going with my Newport hoodie and Arizona golfing hat. So there you go. I knew I couldn't put you through it. Yeah, I couldn't put you through it this week. But again, that's what's funny when you look at some of these losing teams, right? And you look at the Giants, right?
Right.
They're at least competitive in a lot of these games. Even with Jameis Winston at quarterback, they were in it against Green Bay still. And Green Bay, it's for them just being lethargic too, a little bit banged up here with Josh Jacobs here and Jordan Love within that game. But still, when they were in there, they weren't going nuts. That defense doesn't look top 5 like it was last year. So the Giants competing in a lot of games and just not winning, that's better than some of these other teams I've seen where they just get flat out blown the frig out and they're like, they just suck. I mean, look at the Jets. Right. Like again, in Justin Fields just doing everything on his own, scrambling around. I'm watching that last game and I'm just like, look at this guy. I wonder what the other players think, especially receivers, because he's just running around, comes back from like a 30-yard run, comes back to the line. He's like, oh, all right, here we go. Here's the play, blah, 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 blah. And then boom, into another play. And then he can't find nothing and takes off running again. Then back to the huddle. Same thing. All right, guys, here we go. You know what I mean? Like, wow, man, I'm tired of this. So they make the switch for them. So, but yeah, I know you're down right now, Giants fans. I get it, but hopefully
I don't understand why you guys are so down. You're not a Raiders fan.
No, yeah, I know. Watch one of those games.
You got nothing to complain about.
Silently rooting for Joe's team, the Raiders, whenever they play some other teams, especially the Cowboys. I'm like, come on.
You guys don't know what the struggle is. You really
how does Joe do with it? How does Joe deal with this? Now that's where his hair went. I'm telling you.
Stress, man. Stress. And it still continues. But now that we got through the MVP conversation, we let you guys know what we think, some of the candidates that should be talked about more, even giving you our top 3 at this point where we think they're going to, fit at the end. Now, who knows? With the voting and the way that thing all works, most likely it might go to a quarterback, but we're hoping that it might be different this year, whether it be a defensive player, like Jim mentioned, Myles Garrett, or maybe it's an offensive player, but a different position than quarterback, receiver, running back, what have you. So Christian said, one thing you can count on watching Big Blue is that we will find a way to lose. Well, guess what? One thing that you can count on, it's a loss with the Raiders before the game even starts.
Yeah.
At least you guys are in these games with Jackson Dart. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's like that's kind of been the MO since they became a franchise. I was reading Jordan Ranon's book and to hear some of the history and especially how they got started. And it's funny when people look down upon the Giants the way they are now and they've been for the last decade and stuff like that. But ownership in that franchise is the beginning of really the NFL. It started everything. Had the first overtime game where people didn't even know what the frig they were going to do. They're like, all right, regulation's over. Now what's up? They've been part of that. They've been part of getting the collective bargaining with everybody, making money and building the league. So this franchise is so solidified in the NFL altogether. And that's what's terrible about them, being so bad right now, because they are the epitome. The football, the Duke is named after Wellington Mara. So, I mean, it's just crazy. So, man,
they're one of the original teams
at their laughing stock. So,
but it looks like they are starting to figure some things out. At least they got their quarterback now. They can work off of that. We'll see what they do this offseason. But Jim, it is time now for the game picks, my friend. Week 12, and we still have no freaking clue how to pick games.
I don't know. It wasn't bad for me. I think we were all right.
I'm telling you right now, the NFL, you don't know what these teams are good.
No, you don't. That is true too. I did not see the Jacksonville Jaguars smacking the daylights out of the Chargers, though, right?
And you know what, Jim?
Side of the face.
I'll say this.
What?
The reason why I picked the Jaguars is because I knew the Chargers didn't have an offensive line. Mm-hmm. And you can't win games without an offensive line.
Yep.
And that's, to me, that's the real reason. That's why. Mm-hmm. If they had their starters, no doubt about it, the Chargers win that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's
it. All right, let's get into Thursday night football here. The Buffalo Bills at the Houston Texans. Again, Davis Mills at the helm. He's been pretty good. He's on a 2-win streak. He came into the end of the one game and it didn't look so hot, but it just shook the rust off pretty quick. Got back out there, and he's got 2 under his belt here with that good Houston defense there at home. And the bright lights here Thursday night, Buffalo coming into town. We've talked about how, again, their defense not looking as good. People are actually considering that Sean McDermott maybe be on the hot seat. And Buffalo, after a big performance here, are they going to have a lull here on a short week? But I don't really see it happening. I know Houston's going to play them tough for that defense, but I see Buffalo still prevailing in this one. I didn't bring my pen.
Didn't bring your pen. It's all right, because we're going to roll with this. So the Bills and the Texans, this is where it gets intriguing. This is where the Bills can't afford to lose games like this, honestly. And they're already, honestly, they're on a bad turnaround here with this season and how shaky things have been defensively, how shaky they've been offensively, because there's so much pressure on Josh Allen to perform every single week. Again, this is going to be a lot of pressure on Josh Allen. For him to perform, for him to execute and not make and limit his mistakes. And it's going to be challenging because, honestly, he's going against a Texans defense that's one of the best in the league right now in terms of creating pressure, in terms of turning the ball over and capitalizing on what they have to, stopping the run and whatnot. This is where, will the defense in this game, the better defense, I'll say, will the better defense end up with the win at the end of the game? That's going to be intriguing because you have a team now with Davis Mills. CJ Stroud still not available, not going to be available for this game. He's going to have to come in here and he's going to have to do what he's done the past couple of weeks. So can he do it against a Bills kind of beaten up defense? We'll see. He definitely has a receiver to throw to. He has a number 1, by the way. He doesn't have Khalil Shakir as your favorite receiver. He's got Nico Collins to rely on. So something to look forward to in this game. I'm gonna go with the defense in this one and the fact that they are home in Houston. I'm gonna go with the Texans in this one to scrape by a win.
Interesting.
Furthering damaging the hopes of the Buffalo Bills.
That would be straight anarchy, man. It'll be crazy. There'll be riots in
Buffalo.
Because if that happens and whatever, even with where the Chiefs are, the Ravens, the Bills,
Houston,
it is unfathomable. Like if we said again, beginning of the season that the Buffalo Bills, the Chiefs, and that the Ravens were vying for a wild card spot. All of them to try and they're on the bubble.
Right.
That it would be people like, no, you're nuts, man. What are you smoking? Give me some. What I mean?
Yeah.
And this is where we're at right now.
On top of it all, the Texans are also right there on the bubble, like right clipping at the heels of trying to get into the wild card. So this would be a huge win for them to put their stamp on it.
Absolutely. Christian, again, I get you, man, brother, when you're talking about, we could be 5-5, 6-4 and stuff, but then giving up those games we're still looking at 2. Yeah. I
I
mean,
would
but fans know, like, that's what's annoying, kind of like, or kind of funny also at the same time with the Cowboys, right? And they were that 5 or that 3-5-1 or whatever. And then now they just got another one. Now they got 4, but they were only 1 game ahead of us still after everything that they've
right,
done offensively and everything and stuff.
right.
They still only had that 1 game on us. It was rather funny to me.
I mean, honestly, I would love to trade places with you guys. I
I
I
get
would
it.
love to have
Hey,
a team that shows promise at least a little bit and looks like you guys have starting to figure some things out. So, uh,
yep. We
but
welcome you
rather
in, brother.
than total despair and the black hole just keeps getting darker over here.
Oh boy, the
Um,
void. All right, so now let's move on to Sunday's games, Joe. We got Pittsburgh
that's right.
again. Aaron Rodgers, I still think, is going to play with the little fracture. It's in
He's
his
got a
left
fracture,
hand, but I don't
and
know.
dude,
It could be Mason Rudolph still, but I mean, I
I
don't
think they're
even
gonna
know if
go.
that changes things though in this game.
Well, think about it. Rogers is only on a 1 year deal,
Mm-hmm.
so if he can help it, he's gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that smart or not? That's a whole other discussion because if he does decide to play, if the team allows him to play and not hold him out, and he gets hit hard by some blitzing bear around the edge or up the middle or something like that,
Yeah.
and breaks that wrist, now we're
Yeah.
having a whole other conversation. Like,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
how much time is he missing? Is he
Yeah.
missing the rest of the season? Is he and is it going to get to the point to where your season's completely over? So um, I don't know. Is it smart or is it not? Not really sure. Despite whatever quarterback is there, even Rudolph. I mean, Mason Rudolph did a adequate job replacing him and finishing off that game, getting the win and whatnot. But now you're going to have potentially gonna have a whole week of practice to where maybe he'll even be even more comfortable.
Mm.
Um, so I would say this, regardless of the quarterback, whether it be Rodgers or Mason Rudolph, I have a lot more confidence in the Steelers team. The Steeler defense looks like it's playing better, especially after the acquisitions and the changes that they've made. They moved Jalen Ramsey to safety. They also traded for Kyle Duggar, the other in the
Mm.
other safety spot. And by making those changes and additions, this defense looks much tougher to deal with. So um, the Bears, again, I love their defense too. I think they have an excellent defense, but Caleb Williams as your quarterback, I think he's gotten lucky a few times to get some wins here for the Bears, and I think this is kind of where they get brought back down to earth. Give me the Steelers.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I still think Pittsburgh has enough to get it done here against Chicago. I think Chicago, they've been good on defense, keeping games close. This one, I still think is going to be really close. I don't think you're going to see late in the game, though, Pittsburgh, especially their defense, playing the way that others have against Chicago. I say they keep the pressure on. I think they're going to have a field day chasing down and containing Caleb Williams here, trying to get him to hold the ball extra long and not take it off and making those plays with his legs. So I'm going to go with the Steelers too as well.
Yeah, Christian said Aaron looked like he was in a lot, really emphasized a lot of pain Sunday. He honestly looked like he wanted to cry. And you know what? Even though he was in a lot of pain, he sure he was. But they got drugs for that. They can kill that pain if they really want to.
Just go do another ayahuasca retreat quick.
Yeah.
Whatever. Take the pain away, brother.
He said, "Yo, what a scumbag Jamar Chase is. Who spits on someone like that? Just dirtbag move. If I was Jalen Ramsey, I would have done a lot more than he did." Oh, Christian, you know what's funny about this is the fact that when guys fight with pads on, it's kind of hilarious to me. Like if you're going to take a swing at someone at their head when they're wearing a helmet, you could honestly break your fist, crack your knuckles, like, you could further harm yourself. So I just don't understand the logic of that. Like, let's be smarter about it. If you're gonna swing an uppercut, get that chin right underneath the
Yeah,
face mask,
that's what I'm
or
saying.
hit him
Get
right in the throat.
inside.
The
Boom.
throat's exposed. Hit him right in
Mm,
the throat. Let's
yeah.
really do some damage if we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Um,
If you're going to
but
take the
yeah,
penalty or
you're right.
whatever. Yeah.
There's no place for that. I mean, spitting on someone is just absolute disrespect as a human being. Like, you should
Yeah.
never do that.
Yeah.
Despite your temper flaring up and being, extremely angry and all that, frustrated with the situation, whatever it happened with Jamar. But now he's going to miss a game because of it. So
Yeah.
he just forfeited just over $500,000 game check.
Hmm.
That's going to suck. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, he has plenty of money, but still, that's a large sum of money.
It's crazy
for
that
when
we've
he-
seen 2 spit fines like in one season
yeah,
already, right? It's just
one
crazy.
season.
Something I've never really seen that often. In one season, we've got 2.
Yep,
So how about
exactly.
that? All right.
Christian also said,
What else
"Remember
you say?
Andre Johnson and Cortland Flanagan? A
Finnegan. Yeah.
few years back, rip his damn helmet off and scrap." Yep, I
Yep.
remember that. And
Yeah,
guess
man.
what? Luckily these guys don't do that because it'd be much worse.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Cortland Finnegan liked to really get on people's nerves. He was one that I'm sure a lot of receivers did not like because he was one of those. He talked smack all the time. You know what I mean? And got
That's
physical.
fine,
So yeah, yeah.
but
But I mean, he'd really get under
but
their nerves. But yeah, yeah.
his whole idea was to get under your skin to frustrate you.
Mhm.
But guess what? A lot of times he ended up getting frustrated.
Yeah.
How you going to talk trash to Andre Johnson, who's
Mhm.
schooling you? Like,
Mhm. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
let's go.
All right, so next we got the New England Patriots and Cincinnati Bengals. Now it's funny, he was just talking about Jamar Chase here.
There we go. Leads us right into it. See?
Yeah, again, New England playing its best right now. They're running on all cylinders.
Mhm.
Drake May not so good last week, but still good enough again. And Trevion Henderson running the ball all over. It's Cincinnati again. They did what they could with the band-aid of Joe Flacco and stuff, but not having Jamar Chase and the way that defense is. I know they're going to play it tough here at home, but
Yeah.
I still trust New England on this one and keep them rolling and put more pressure on Buffalo just like that. So that would be interesting.
Absolutely. And that's the thing with this New England Patriots team is they are on such a high right now. They are playing extremely well in all facets of the game. Offense is clicking on all cylinders, defense is in sync, special teams is killing it.
Mhm.
It doesn't stop here either.
Yeah,
Like they're going to
yeah,
be playing against a
yeah.
Cincinnati team that does. You just mentioned Jamar Chase will not be available. Joe Burrow, who has been cleared to practice, apparently was a full participant, which is going to be really good to hear. But I think
Mhm.
they hold him out another week. I don't think they're going to rush him back this quickly to even give them a spark, if you will, to try to beat the New England Patriots. And let's not forget, the Bengals still continue to have one of the worst defenses, and they continue to let them down, even when they have a lead. So, give me the Patriots, the more complete team, the team that is in sync with their coach and coaching staff and everything. Hands down, not even a hard decision.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next the New York Giants and the Detroit Lions. Lions at home. You know where I'm going with this one. Lions all day.
Yeah,
Right. My picks never change on this. I think that's why I do so well in the picks a lot of times. Just like I know my Giants, I just guarantee they're going to lose this one. Detroit not looking good at all in that last game against Philly. They are in their at home in the dome. It's going to be very good for Jared Goff and company. I think they right the ship here against the Giants. I think early on we'll try and keep this surprisingly enough. But again, it's the Giants. They're not a good team right now. They're banged up too. And again, Detroit's bouncing back. Detroit all day.
there is a little bit of a bright spot for Giants fans. Jackson Dart looks like he's might be on pace to come back this week. That will give him a little spark, but I don't think it's going to be enough, though.
I
The
don't think
Detroit
he's
Lions are
good enough.
coming off of a game where
Mhm.
they got basically kind of got outplayed, embarrassed in a sense, and they lost a little bit of manhood last week. So
Mhm.
look for them to come out strong, physical, tough, and try to make a statement game out of this one against the Giants. Give me the Detroit Lions in the win.
All right, the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay's at home, so that vibe's good for them. Minnesota just not very good. They're okay, but again, the offense just doesn't get going here. Again, it's all because of JJ McCarthy. Again, he's still learning, not coming along as quickly as they probably planned.
Mm.
But I think this is going to be a tight one again, just because of division games. It's tight. Green Bay's also just keeping teams in it. They're not blowing people up like they were early on in the
They're
season, and
playing
then
down to
still
the
kind of
level,
surprisingly. Yeah, absolutely.
really.
So this in a tight one. I still got Green Bay at home though.
Yeah, I mean, I could have told everybody to pump the brakes on JJ McCarthy when he came out of the draft, and in fact, I did. And no one wanted to listen to me about how he wasn't ready for the NFL. And even though they decided to move on from Sam Darnold, was a grave mistake because this kid, as young as he is, that he does have tremendous talent. I believe that one day he can become a solid starter for the Vikings, but it's not gonna be this year. And because of the continued struggles, the turning the ball over, you know, this Modge Podge of a backfield, which I don't even know who's the starter really. Is it Aaron Jones? Is it Jordan Mason? It's very
Mm.
conflicting. Even though they have weapons, and sometimes you'll see a little bit of a highlight here and there from this offense, I just don't think it's gonna be enough, even continuing for the rest of the season. I think that they're still trying to find their identity as a team offensively, and they got a good defense, and that's probably what's gonna keep them in the game against the Packers, but I think the Packers are gonna get the best of them in the end.
Mhm. Absolutely. All right, Christian. Excuse me. He says Joe Burrow really gonna come back. He saw a few things about him being only a couple of weeks out from returning, but why bother?
He's gonna be back sooner than that. Initially, it was gonna be, like, Thanksgiving week is what he was gonna be looking at, but the fact that he's practicing in full already, it's gonna be much sooner.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm kind of thinking the same way Christian is too. I mean, that's your star quarterback. It looks like the season's lost right now. They've got a 1% chance of making the playoffs. Um, maybe just try and keep it under wraps here. Let's just stay healthy and just move on.
Nope, let's
All right,
play our starter.
let's just go. Yeah, throw them in there. Yeah. So next we've got the Seattle Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans. Oh man, the Titans. Yeah, the defense is starting to come around better, but again, that offense is just slow. But Cam Ward's still looking all right as a rookie, right now, getting those yards out there. He's the most sacked and pressured quarterback in the NFL right now. So I mean, taking his hits and getting up still from it all. Seattle again, Mike McDonald's got that crew going, not only defensively, but then on the offensive side. Sam Darnold, again, probably his worst game this season here last week. Turnovers are all over the place. He just wasn't seeing the reads. You get pressured and just boom, oh, look, boom, and there's a dude right in front. So it's hopefully he can, again, this team, keep it limited here and get back to his winning ways and accurate throws here. So I like the Seattle Seahawks in this one. It's not a crazy out of the ordinary pick.
So the Seattle Seahawks right now, they got a little bit of a concern on the offensive line. Greg Zabel, their rookie, ended up getting injured last game. Uh, we have to kind of wait to see just how serious it is, or maybe it's not, and he'll return. If so, that this offensive line is going to be back 100%. Um, the Seahawks, they got outplayed. They definitely didn't look like the Seattle Seahawks that we have been seeing, and I get it. They played the LA Rams, one of the best teams in the NFC, and they ended up on the losing end. Doesn't define them in any way. I still think they have a really good defense.
They still had a chance to win despite
Sam,
it all.
yeah, despite it all, and Sam
Mhm.
Darnold too. Like he's gonna have to get a little bit sharper. He's gonna have to be smarter with his decisions, even in critical pressure, high pressure situations. So this is kind of like a bye week in a sense for Seattle because Tennessee, like Jim just mentioned, they just don't even
Uh,
know how to play football at this
uh,
point, with all the crazy turnovers, and the team just isn't that well run to begin with.
mm.
Seattle going into Tennessee, give me the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, when you got an interim coach, Mike McCoy and stuff, they're trying to feel things out, and they're in that search for next year already. So, Christian says Seahawks going to have the game over by halftime again. He says, we'll see. Yeah, Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't wait to
Hold
watch
on,
this one.
hold on, Jim.
What?
Why isn't this a primetime game?
I don't know. Probably because the Chiefs are 5-5, or even though they're the darlings of the NFL,
Still,
right?
I feel like this is
Uh,
going to be a good game to watch.
I think that, yeah, I'm excited to watch this one because again, Indianapolis, technically Kansas City does not have a winning record, but we know what they're
Right?
capable of, right?
Yeah.
So that's what makes this intriguing. What they do, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, those weapons that they have. Indianapolis, a great record, rushing leader right now. On
Mhm.
top of it, Daniel Jones playing lights out. Another litmus test for them again because they've
Right.
played against good competition and they've lost those games. Other teams, they're blowing them the frig out. So this one, I'm wondering where they are on this one. Again, litmus test. Are they gonna? I doubt they're gonna blow out the Chiefs. But I think it's gonna be a close game. And Kansas City being at home, I think I kind of got to give it to them just because at home and they had that homestand. They're fighting to try and get another win to get to the playoffs. And I think Indy might drop one here again.
Yeah, so for the Chiefs, this is not the Kansas City Chiefs that we're used to seeing. This is a team that whenever they've faced a tough physical opponent, they tend to struggle immensely. The Colts are exactly that. They're a tough physical team that is going to go into Kansas City and give them everything they have. They're going to have to try to stop Jonathan Taylor, who's having a stellar year. They're going to have to try to penetrate this offensive line that's one of the best offensive lines in football right now. And Daniel Jones playing as well as he has at time, for the most part this season. Um, I'm pretty impressed. Will it continue? We'll have to see. Just like you said, this is going to be yet another test for the Colts to kind of be able to see where exactly they fit on this spectrum of better teams. Um, Defensively, the Colts have been playing out of this world. They end up getting Sauce Gardner in a trade before the deadline, which definitely further improves this secondary. And I was trying to remember last night's show, the other corner, but it was Charvarius Ward,
Mm,
the veteran corner from the 49ers. He's also returning healthy.
mm.
So might probably this week. So that's really great news for them, especially going to a high pressured situation with Kansas City. For the Chiefs, though, I like the defense still. I still think the defense is the same as it always has been. However, I feel like offenses are starting to figure them out from time to time. And I think with the Colts, the game plan is going to be physical with them, see if they can tire them out throughout the game with the running game and whatnot. I'm going to go actually with the Indianapolis Colts to go into KC and win.
Oh, wow. I like it. All right. And Christian says, what a game this is going to be. Absolutely. I hope so. I think it's going to be great because, again, we get to see these guys on the national
Mhm.
stage here. I want to see if Jonathan Taylor runs all over this defense, see what he can do here.
I
And
just
see
wish it
what
was a
Mahomes
primetime
has so
game.
far.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wish it was a primetime game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So next we've got the New York Jets and the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore at home. Jets going with Tyrod Taylor. And we already know what that is. So, I mean,
The Jets are
not
going to
much
win.
to be said in this one. There is no upset alert. Baltimore going to play lights out here at home. Lamar Jackson, I will, though, is again say he's not the same right now. He's got to turn it up. He needs to adjust and take off and run. If it's open, go. Don't sit in the pocket. Don't try and make a play there.
Right.
You're not that guy. And you saw it last week, the turnovers. Like, dude, facing the pressure when normally any other time he would have just tucked away from it and took off and not take the sack, not take the hit, and then all of a sudden throw a pick. Be smarter, be you, unless you really are hurting still and that banged up, and that's why he's kind of holding back a little bit. And that holds back this team. But again, playing the Jets, I got the Baltimore Ravens in this one. It's no
Just run Derrick Henry 40 times in this game, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be no issues with it. Listen, this is a Jets team that had a little bit of a fire sale before the trade deadline. We just talked about Sauce Gardner and how he got dealt to the Colts, but also they give up one of their best defensive linemen, and that is Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys. So, minus those two players on defense, also the fact that your best offensive weapon in Garrett Wilson is done for the year. Like that, you've already decided that you're going to end the season. So, despite your very elusive and mysterious quarterback decision, who's going to be the starter, I don't think it's going to matter whether that's Fields or Tyrod Taylor. Not going to do much against the Baltimore Ravens. Give me the Ravens all day long. A healthier team, a more dangerous team, and a team that is on a winning streak to get back into the divisional race that is the AFC North.
Absolutely. All right. Next, the Cleveland Browns and the Las Vegas Raiders, Joe. Shedeur Sanders getting the start. You cannot let Shedeur get the win against your team here, Joe.
Yes, we can. Because it's going to be legendary. That's right. Shedeur, we're going to make Shedeur look like a Pro Bowl quarterback in the NFL. And it's going to be pretty sad to watch my Raiders play against the Cleveland Browns, which they're going to end up playing a third string quarterback, mind you, who looked disastrous in his debut.
Yeah. Yep.
But don't be, do not worry. Shador, Raiders are going to help you out. We're going to give you wide open pockets in the zone so you can have easy throws. The Raiders, they've been struggling on defense. They've been struggling on offense. And honestly, without two of their top offensive linemen that are still out of the lineup, it's going to get ugly because Myles Garrett's going to come eating in this game. And I'm telling you right now, as great in numbers as he has, he could have another 4-sack game in this one against Geno. Geno's going to be hating life. But yeah, I think I think even though this might be an ugly game to watch, I think that the Cleveland Browns are going to end up coming out on top.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one to pick for me too, because I mean, I could see a
Jim,
bunch
you know
of
what
different
I've
scenarios
turned into?
though, Joe. What?
I've turned into you
Me, yeah.
with the Raiders. I'm not picking them
against
to
them.
win anymore.
Yeah, and for some reason, I just feel like again, I'm not sold in on even Shador pulling this one out, no matter what Myles Garrett is doing, because I really see Max Crosby getting the pressure in there and feeding and taking him down.
I don't think they have to throw the ball. Honestly,
You know?
they could just run on them.
They could, I guess. What Quinshawn Junkins?
Yeah,
They could. I mean, yeah, this is definitely, I would say, guaranteed a low scoring game, and a bunch of turnovers. So defensive, at least for Cleveland again. I don't know. I'm going to go with Vegas on this one. I say Geno turns it around a little bit, even despite playing one of the best defenses here. I say they're going to get it going. I like the Raiders. I'm going to be positive for you. I'm going to beat you on this one then.
This is the week Geno Smith is going to lead the league in interceptions because Tua beat him. Tua's got one interception more than him. He's going to end up throwing 3 in this one.
All right. Christian says, how about Shador Sanders' debut? What a stud, no doubt. First rounder.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Oh, that's good stuff. All right. Next, let's move on to Jacksonville Jaguars and the Arizona Cardinals. Just as everybody's even saying, right, like they're like, oh, maybe they got to move on from Kyler Murray and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, Jacoby Brissett's throwing picks, not looking comfortable in the pocket, and they're even on a bigger losing skid here. Meanwhile, Jacksonville looks like they're, again, as long as that offense can limit mistakes here and again run the ball efficiently, that defense can hold its own. So Arizona, again, before, I mean, I had high hopes from early on. It doesn't look so good right now. Jonathan Gannon's hot. Seat is getting hot even too, I'm hearing. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville on this one. Maybe they can roll a couple together, and that makes that playoff bubble a little more interesting again, because if they win, say Baltimore wins, Kansas City doesn't win, oh my goodness. Then there's issues for Kansas City, because now Jacksonville being that last seed, basically you got to jump into. It's going to make it a lot harder. I think, like I said, if they lose, Jacksonville wins, it brings it to like a 31% chance of them making the playoffs.
Yeah, this is going to be another ugly game to watch because both teams are not playing very well. Trevor Lawrence continues to struggle. If they can't run the ball, the Jaguars, then they're pretty much done in the water, despite having a good defense. Again, the Cardinals also have a good defense that people don't really talk about, but they're going to show up and they're going to play, and it's going to be whoever makes the least amount of mistakes wins the game type of deal.
Yep.
Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, I feel like this might be a bounce back game a little bit for him, even though they are going to be without Marvin Harrison Jr. But hey, it didn't look like they really needed him last week either. Michael Wilson started to show out. Look for him to continue to do so in this game
up too.
With that all being said, I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals at home on this one.
All right. Philadelphia 425. I know a lot of people will probably watch this game again. Divisional rivals game. Again, this is going to be a tight one. Dallas, a lot better, though. Again, making those trades on that defense now, that line, now they've got some serious pressure going up there. Again, now you've got Quinn Williams, you got all these dudes, and they showed out last week. And offensively, it looks like that just Dak can either throw it to George Pickens. He's always open because he's always pushing off. And then CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's your second option at this point, which is ridiculous. And then don't forget about, Jake Ferguson here in the tight end position. So Dallas really turning some things around here with all those trades and making some moves. So that makes this game a lot more interesting.
Yeah, you talk about the Cowboys real quick and defensively, how they got trades done, but also they're getting healthy. Demarion Overshone returns at the linebacking core. They trade for Logan Wilson from the Bengals. Now is the new middle linebacker of that team. And then you got Savon Ravel, who the rookie that they drafted, also coming back due to injury, back into the lineup here, making that defense so much different looking and more impressive on the football field. You got an offense. Can the defense continue to play? And now you're playing a much better opponent. You went from one of the weakest opponents against the Raiders to now you're playing the Eagles this week. Now this will be a true test of the Cowboys' newly vamped defense, just how good actually they are.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles, very tough squad again, but also not the same Eagles team either so far. Like we saw a glimpse of it last week, offensively, definitely giving the ball a little bit more, little bit more opportunities to AJ Brown, like he requested so nicely.
Mhm.
And in this team, the defense looked better. It looked
Yeah.
a little bit more aggressive. It looked like it was coming downhill a lot, creating a lot of pressure, turning the ball over. Man, what a matchup this is going to be. Again, this could also easily be another primetime game that I would love to watch. But who'd you go with, Jim?
I didn't pick one yet. You want me
Oh,
to go first? I can go
go
first.
ahead.
I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles
All
again
right.
because I feel like they still haven't unlocked their potential again, right? I mean, you
Mhm.
see all the names, and you
Right.
you can see what the defense, in addition to Phillips, has
Yeah.
been to that defense, right?
Mhm.
I see more of that. So this is going to be great here, especially against this Dallas team here. That you got to pressure Dak Prescott. You can't let him throw it deep to George Pickens. You can't let that happen. And I feel like with the corners that they have, they can kind of lock these guys up to an extent. They're not going to take that physical, type of approach here with Pickens. So I'm liking the Philadelphia Eagles on this one because I feel like they have more to give in this one and some, especially in the running game too. I feel
Here's
like
it.
too the Philadelphia. I feel like let's just say it. Jalen Hurts is holding this team back, right?
How dare you say Jalen
I
Hurts is
just said
holding
it.
it back?
Yeah, I mean, come on,
Unbelievable.
look at it, man.
You mean he's not a top 5 quarterback? I mean, just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
But anyway, so I mean, here's the other thing too about the Eagles defense. As good as they looked last week, they have Quinion Mitchell, and on the opposite side, they don't have an answer. And that right there is the weakness in this
Yeah.
defense. This is where the Cowboys having not one but two stellar wide receiver options is really going to help them as well. I'm really curious to see how this game unfolds. I expect the Eagles to win, but I'm going to pick the Cowboys with having some new upgrades on defense and might even be able to give the Eagles a little bit harder of a challenge than initially anticipated.
Yeah, especially as for this division here. All right, what is Christian? He's had his comment up there
He
forever.
said,
Said
"What the hell happened to Marvin Harrison?" He said, "Saw he had appendix surgery. What's the timetable for that? I would assume you had a stomach surgery. You're not going to be able to take hits for a couple months and risk tearing it back open, right?" Nope, it's not that long term. It's actually a couple weeks, and he'll be ready to go. Most likely, he'll be ready to go next week. I feel like they kept him out this week as a precaution and they're going to help him, at least rest another week, and then he'll return back to the lineup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's been off for like last week too, week before
Yeah,
even
last
too.
week.
So I mean, so they had the issues. They must have found out it was appendicitis and then did his surgery. So yeah, people turn around from that type of stuff like really quickly now.
Yep.
It's not like the old days, right, Joe? All right, so next we're getting to the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints. Oh my
It gets
goodness.
better.
Yeah, why didn't they get pushed this one to like 1 o'clock? Well, maybe you can't put the other two games right next to each other,
Well,
but
it's because
yeah,
of
it's just it's
yeah
a poop
time
game, man.
time
I
schedule here.
I don't know anybody wants to watch this game.
Only the people in Louisiana
Yeah.
and maybe Rise Up Dirty Birds.
Man, New Orleans at home, Tyler Shuck, but maybe this is a game that Kirk Cousins can shine. I mean, you got Bijan Robinson, you still got those guys on defense.
True.
Dude, it's a bounce back game. They've been
Yeah.
on a losing skid. I'm saying they're bouncing back. I'm going with the
All
Falcons, the
right.
Dirty Birds on this one.
I like it. And
Yeah, how
when they
about that?
burn your bridge again, you're going to be like, I'm
Yeah,
never
that's
picking
what
them
happens
again.
too. Yeah, that's true. That is
I
true.
You know what? I don't know what to expect from Kirk Cousins. And that's probably the only reason why I'm not going to end up picking Atlanta right now. Despite him coming in late in the game last week because of Penix injury,
Yep.
ending his season, by the way. So
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins now going to take over, but man, we know that he's had his fair share of struggles. Even as the quarterback for the Falcons, that's why Penix ended up winning the job this year. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from the guy, and he's had the same talented players around him before and didn't do much with them. So, I like the Falcons' defense is definitely better, but I gotta say I also like the up and coming young quarterback that is Tyler Shook for the New Orleans Saints and what he was able to accomplish last week. Maybe it continues. Also, another
Mm.
little bit tidbit here for the Saints is they have released Brandon Cooks, the
Mhm.
veteran speedster, is now going to be available for whatever team is looking for some extra juice on the outside. But give me the Saints in this one. I'm going to go with the Saints in this being home, and may the worst team win.
There you go. Yep, he said Rise Up will be tuned in for this one. Absolutely. You know, I would like to see maybe just for the hell of it. I know it's not going to be worth of amount anything for, or even like what's the point, but
Mhm.
what's if you're the Giants, just cut Jalen Hyatt and pick up Brandon Cooks. At least I could trust him to
You,
catch a ball.
you don't even have to cut them. You could just freaking sign them.
Yeah, yeah, that's true too. Yeah, but oh
You,
my goodness, man, what a disappointment in Jalen Hyatt, right? All
not
right,
really a
so
disappointment because he didn't draft him
yeah,
high.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
It's a one of those
yeah,
roll the dice type
yeah.
picks.
Roll the dice. Yep. You're looking for Yahtzee, and you're like, well, this was my chance or whatever. I'm putting it in as chance, or you go for,
That's
yeah, your Yahtzee on sixes. You got 1 6. You're like, damn, I'm gonna have to put in my sixes.
that.
Shit. Yeah. Oh, all right. So
Anyway,
anyway, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Enough Yahtzee references. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Rams, 8:20. That's why they didn't put that game here, Joe. Look at this one. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Los Angeles Rams. Oh my
mhm,
goodness.
I love it. I love it. However, Monday night they could have put the Eagles Cowboys
That's
in. They
true.
could have done like come on. That's the Panthers and Niners. Like that's not I don't
Oh,
know.
that's true.
Anyway, Buccaneers Rams. What a great game to end off the um Sunday, schedule here. Uh Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield. This is going to be fun to watch. It really is. Like I feel like this is going to be a high scoring, high volume type of game, whether that be for the Rams or for the Buccaneers, or maybe a little bit of both.
Mhm.
You know that the Buccaneers aren't going to go away lightly. Baker Mayfield continues to help them to kind of stay in these games. The one thing that does have to improve for Tampa, though, is their defense. Like
Mhm.
honestly, like their defense sometimes looks stellar, and then a lot of times they just don't even look worthy of the talent that they have on the field. It's odd. Rams, are going to bring it. They're home. It's super tough. I hate to pick against Tampa because I really like their tenacity and their fight, especially offensively with Baker. But man, it's tough to pick against the Rams at this point. Uh, with the way Stafford's playing, the way this defense is playing, and the fact that they're home, give me LA.
Yeah, I'm going with you too. I'm going with the Rams. Tampa Bay again. This is going to be a shootout, much like it was with the Bills again, and that's how Tampa Bay rolls with it. Like you said, that defense again, not as good as what it shows even on paper. Or some of these guys can be right.
Right.
The offense is good and what he can do. And Baker, he's going to keep fighting, marching around for this. Team's very familiar with each other. At least even Baker Mayfield, he's going to see some friendly faces on the opposite side. So I think it's going to be, an interesting trip back, to one of his former
Mhm.
teams. But shootout where the Rams come out on top again. They're playing on all cylinders again, defense, special teams, offense on it. So it's all good.
We
Um,
have a very good question by Christian. He said, "Offensive Rookie of the Year, Ibuka or Dart? They are both performing their asses off, or in Dart's case, his head off." He'll
uh,
be here all night, ladies
we
and gentlemen.
I
Stand-up
think we
comedy.
will have an episode where we have that as one of the topics, at least going further down. I think
Yeah,
towards awards time. And these names have been brought up on times. I think the fact that Jackson Dart's been injured a bunch of times though, and the fact that he got a late start into it, kind of and Ibuka has been doing it like all year. I think you got to give the edge to him. But there's a bunch of them out there that are still
there
eligible
is.
for this. I mean, so it's tough to pick.
But
Like,
I
pick
mean,
your
if you're
poison
if
on
you're
this one.
going from these two here,
These 2.
for me, it's Ibuka,
Mhm,
hands down.
mhm.
Wide receiver in the NFL, as a rookie, especially, is hard to like just come in and not just start, but also be impressive at the same time. And he's done both, for
Mhm.
Tampa. And honestly, without Ibuka, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, let's just say this, if they didn't draft Ibuka, right? And you got Mike Evans out, you got Chris Godwin out, you got Jalen McMillan out. What do you have? Kate
Mhm.
Otten, and that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'd be obviously they would be playing Tez Johnson and some of these other rotational receivers, but
Yeah.
I don't see them being anywhere where they are now without Ibuka. So,
Mhm.
he again, very impressive rookie. Dart is as well. So he's going to also be part of that conversation. But we gotta, as we get closer to the end of the season, we'll have a little bit more clarification.
Absolutely. Yep, I agree too, as well, So, all right,
And
let's
last
move
but
on
not
finally
least,
to last but not least, Monday Night Football. Real exciting barn burner here. We're excited to
meh,
see this one. Uh, this one's gonna be fairly easy. Again, I'm going with San Francisco 49ers. You got healthy Brock Purdy. They're starting to get healthier all together. You got Christian McCaffrey on there
Ricky
at
Parasol's
home.
back.
Yep. And Carolina, we talked about it last night on the Blindside Blitz
Mhm.
with Carolina. They're Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. If
It
they're
really is.
home, high highs. If
Yes.
they're away, low lows. So they're away on this one, low on this one. So I'm going with San Francisco 49ers on this one to topple over to Carolina Panthers. And, again, knock them down out of that playoff like cunt, where they're right there.
Yeah. And
Surprisingly enough.
yeah, and that's the thing is like this team has been up and down so
Mhm.
often for the
Mhm.
Panthers. I really don't know what we're going to expect. And I understand that they are visiting, but this seems like one of those type of games where like it's prime time under the lights, right? And you got a team that everybody's going to assume is going to lose this game. The whole nation is against you. They might even be able to play off of that a little bit for the team to get riled up to maybe put up a really good fight. Niners, again, we've talked about this before about how yes, they're getting healthier in offense. Looks like they besides Brandon Ayuk, they're going to pretty much have their starting offense all together for the first time in a long time.
Mhm.
Um, Defensively is where the concern is for me. Like despite Robert Sala heading the unit and doing everything that he can to keep this unit tough, physical, and in your face, um, they've sustained, you know, big time injuries to this defense. So there's going to be some holes in it. There's going to be some maybe miscues. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I'm going to give a shot to the Carolina Panthers in this one.
Ooh.
I'm going to say. I'm going to think that Bryce Young learned something last week. Feed Tedero McMillan, and everything will be okay.
Mhm. Yeah, see ya, Christian. He doesn't
See
have
you,
anything
brother.
for the barn burner. Yeah. And again, if they lose this one, they're gonna be 6-6, just like what they were just 5-5 before. Now
Yeah.
they'll be dead even again. But an interesting thing too, because with you going with the Rams
Mhm.
and then Carolina, if that really comes to fruition, then you're talking about um, the Carolina's Panthers flip-flopping and taking the division right now. So
Be crazy.
that would be interesting, right?
Would be very interesting.
Yeah. So I
I
mean,
don't
how
expect
about
it to
that?
happen, but I'd like it to
Right,
happen.
right. I know. So I mean, again, if your picks do come out that way, I mean, that would be pretty interesting to see that happen. And then everybody would really be scratching their head about
Yeah.
this whole
What
season, right? So what the hell are we looking at right here,
what's
right?
happening?
So, all right. So there
Uh,
you go. That's the show for tonight and this
yes,
week.
sir.
We appreciate you guys hanging with us. I know we had some other people come on late too. Hey, but better late than never, though. I hope you guys, enjoyed what you have heard so far. And if you could, you can go back and watch this video later on. But Joe, just tell them how they can do that.
Real simple. If you're new to the show, if you're just tuning in, or if you want to spread the word a little bit, tell everybody about the show. That we're an interactive NFL talk show. We're here to stay. Appreciate all the support for everybody, especially in the comment section tonight. Been awesome. Fired through all of them. But head over to YouTube for us. When you get to our channel, hit the subscribe button. You know the drill. Hit the thumbs up. Share it to everybody that you know and love. And we'll see you in the next one for sure.
All right. See you guys.